All right. You're right. The 2007 Super Bowl championship, all right? That is the best moment of Eli Manning's career. I mean, let alone it was an epic playoff run. And they had played, the New England Patriots in Week 17 and played them closely and gave them a little bit of an issue. But ultimately, that Super Bowl 42 is what took Eli Manning into another stratosphere as a quarterback, as a player. Until 2007 and that year, I mean, hey, there was questions in the 2007 season of whether we should bench Eli. Should Eli get benched and things like that? But he played amazing football in the biggest moment of his career at that point and beat the undefeated New England Patriots, who looked unstoppable really all year long, and made one of the great plays in Super Bowl history with the David Tyree and then, of course, the Plaxico Burress touchdown to win the football game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the all-time great moments in NFL history. It's the obvious number one. And hell, why wasn't I thinking of Jadeveon Clowney? All right. For me, it's the Mario Manningham throw in Super Bowl 46. It was every bit as impactful. It was every bit as meaningful. It fueled the drive that ultimately won the game for the Giants, and he was threading a needle. It was a great catch by Mario Manningham, but for Eli Manning to be able to put it there, how far it traveled through the air, how it just kind of came right in. Look at that. He's got a guy in his face and just drops it in between two guys. That was a thing of beauty, and that helped the Giants get Super Bowl win number 2. It helped Eli get MVP number 2, and I think that, from a substantive football standpoint, is the thing that gets him into Canton.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that throw there alone probably gets him in it altogether, because if that's not completed, most likely the Patriots win that football game, and that's that. So I hear you. That was another clutch performance by Eli. I think, the consecutive starts thing or something I got to talk about when the best moments of Eli Manning's career. I mean, you always hear the old phrase, like, the best ability is availability, right? Well, Eli Manning was always available. Now, was it as courageous of a start, consecutive starting streak as Brett Favre, who played the game much more physically than Eli Manning? No, but still, nonetheless, what was it, 207 starts in a row? Something like that. I mean, that's astounding to be able to do that, to be able to stay upright, healthy week after week. I mean, that talks about the talent, the toughness of the player as well. And, the feel of the player, to know, oh, these guys are around me, or I'm going to get hit like this, and the ability to protect. All of those things are speak to the player Eli Manning was. And I think that's one of the more impressive things he did in his career was play that many games in a row.
That's the thing we take for granted. That's the thing that I think is a critical aspect of our franchise quarterback. That's part of the value, the great value of Dak Prescott. 4 years, never missed a game. As the Patriots decide what they're going to do next, whoever they get next, a guy that they believe will be durable. Because remember when Tom Brady was suspended in 2016, Jimmy Garoppolo got hurt, Jacoby Brissett was banged up. Tom Brady has found a way to stay healthy all these years, except for the fluke ACL tear week 1 of 2008. That is a key component. And for Eli Manning, you should take it for granted. The guy's there every week. He shows up every week. It's okay, but you don't realize it until he's not there. When he is there, no big deal. Well, it is a big deal because the alternative for a lot of teams is going to be a big drop-off. All right, for me, this goes all the way back to draft day. He did something that only 2 high-profile quarterbacks have ever done, which is telling the team that held the first overall pick in the draft, don't bother. John Elway did it to the Colts, ending up with the Broncos instead, and Eli Manning did it to the Chargers. He didn't want to go to the Chargers. Now, look, one of the reasons he didn't want to go to the Chargers, and this story has kind of trickled out over time, when he visited the Chargers, he got mixed signals about whether or not they really wanted him. That was when they had Marty Schottenheimer and A.J. Smith, coach and GM respectively. They didn't see eye to eye, and he wasn't sure that they really wanted him. They had Drew Brees at the time. So that's part of the reason why he didn't want the Chargers. Archie ran interference for Eli so he wouldn't look like he was being, a brat or being a guy who would push against the system, although I encourage guys to push against the system. I don't like the fact that the draft dictates where the best players go. I like it when they have power and they use it, and Eli did, and there he was, if you're watching on TV, as a Charger for a brief moment in time before he was traded to the New York Giants. So I love the fact, and it was such an eventful day when Eli Manning made it clear to the Chargers, I'm not coming. They drafted him. The Giants drafted Phillip Rivers. The deal was done, and now both guys moving on from those teams in the same offseason.
Yeah, that was a career-defining moment before your career even started. Yeah, the Manning family, they're smart, they're intelligent, they read the tea leaves the right way there, and they didn't like the situation in San Diego at that time. Probably realized there was too many moving parts. Probably scared, like, what if Drew Brees has a great year this next year? Does Eli become the starter? When does he become the starter? So that was a power play move by a powerful NFL family, and it all worked out in the end for Eli Manning and the Mannings in general. All right, I mean, hey, listen, I could talk about more games with Eli Manning, but I really think this goes a long way to me. When you talk about the best moments of Eli Manning's career, I'm going to talk about his acting in commercials. I mean, to me, that's where, like, he became humanized and where I really, like, went another level in liking Eli Manning. I mean, there's just so many things, whether it's the Dirty Dancing with Odell Beckham Jr. I mean, come on, that's hilarious. He had, like, the fantasy football rap video, right, with his brother. That was as funny as it gets. Some of those ESPN commercials where they're kicking each other in the butt and giving each other wet willies in the ears and all those kind of things. I mean, he's a very funny guy. And as you see right here, the fact that he's on his knees doing Dirty Dancing and doing a whole dance like Patrick Swayze is hilarious. And I really, that made me respect Eli to another level.
Yeah, and I mean, because he's so much more reserved than Peyton, but he's got the same chops when it comes to acting and comedy. And, you know, we really don't know what Eli's going to do next. But just like with Peyton, I feel like whatever he chooses to do, he'll be successful. Even though he's more reserved, even though outwardly he's more muted, I think he's still got a lot of the same qualities and talents and characteristics of Peyton. And I think he'll be around at least as much as Peyton has been around. Then again, Peyton in 4 years hasn't been around nearly as much as we thought he would be, although he's still a heavy presence in commercials. All right, for me, I thought you were going to take my last one because for me, it's also a non-playing characteristic of Eli Manning. He split the Walter Payton Man of the Year award with Larry Fitzgerald after the 2016 season. He has been a great voice and a great fundraiser when it comes to children with cancer, one of the best causes that anyone could have. He's been a champion in that regard. When we're in the New York area during weekends in football season and can see some of the local channels and some of the local coverage, some of the local commercials, how passionate he is about it. I mean, it's heartbreaking for anyone of any age to have to deal with a disease like that, but especially a child to have to go through treatments like that and endure that uncertainty and fear. And he's been a true pioneer among NFL players when it comes to that cause. And that, to me, definitely stands out because I think it's something he hasn't gotten enough credit for. And I have a feeling it's something he's going to stay heavily involved in, even in his retirement.
Yeah, I would think so, too. I mean, he's really made a name for himself up here in the tri-state area with all the work he's done with kids and cancer and everything like that. It's a great cause. You know, Eli's, he's great that way. He really is. He's one of those guys, you meet him, you talk to him for a minute, and you realize he's a good person. He just has good person in his eyes in general when you look into them. And a legend for me, man. I mean, awesome. I mean, Eli Manning, applause. All I can do over here is chant Eli like the Giant fans always used to. I mean, he was special and fun to watch, gave me a lot of great memories. You know, the Giants are the team that's truest to my heart. And, you know, hey, I love my dad and his career. Eli Manning's career, very special. And he's the king quarterback in the history of the New York Giants franchise.
And we do have that Eli Manning connection from before we ever even met, where I made a smart aleck remark about Eli Manning in the 80s throwback uniforms, and I made some derogatory reference to Phil in reference to the way Eli played that night, and you saw that, and you were upset with me about it.
I was, yeah. What a jerk you are. Yeah, what a jerk. Taking low blows on Big Phil, right below hitting him below the belt. That's what Mike Florio, copy, paste, snarky comment. That's how I got a little,
It's the only place I can hit him. He's a Giant.
Yep, but you're right. That'll be, that one did. It got me pissed off that one day. It was like a power rankings back in like 2016 or something like that.
I found it. The last time you brought it up, I found it. It wasn't that bad.
No, it wasn't that bad.
You're more thin-skinned than Derek Carr.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.